Modern Mahjong's here for a daily talk of the tiles for May 18th, 2025. We're continuing our series discussing National Mahjong League rules versus house rules. Today, we're focusing on official rules of racking, which is one of the ways to end the window to call a prior discard, and tapping, which under the official rules does nothing. The full video for this and all of our prior videos on our YouTube channel, Modern Mahjong. We believe it's important for players to learn by official rules. This way you could recognize house rules. This video, all of our posts, we make sure to post about official rules, and this way players can play with confidence. By knowing them, you could play anywhere and add fun house rules if your group wants to. We travel for Mahjong. Contact us at ModernMahjong at Gmail. We do presentations, strategy sessions, in-person and online classes, and events. Under National Mahjong League rules, the current discard is available until any of the next things happen. The next player picks and racks their tile, picks and discards by fully naming or the tile touches the table, picks and initiates a joker exchange, or Mahjong's called. So what's racking? A tile's racked when it is resting on that sloping part of the rack and their player remove their fingers. In other words, they're not just holding the tile. That part is not in Mahjong Made Easy. That was in a letter that was recently sent from the league. If a player calls a discard at the same time a tile is racked, the tie favors the caller and they get the discard. Now, racking is not required, but it can be a best practice. So you might hear your teacher say rack, rack, rack when you're first learning. The reason for that is it is one of the ways to close the prior discard. However, tapping your tile on your rack does nothing. So you could pick up the tile and look at it, wave it in the air until you rack that tile. That does not close the window. There's other ways to close it, such as calling Mahjong, discarding, and all of that. So it's not required, but it's one of the ways. Tapping it on the rack just makes a noise. The National Mahjong League rule provides that the discard can be called if a player only taps it. Some house rules, however, differ and they encourage and permit tapping to close the window. Tapping is not the same as racking. Racking is resting it on that sloping part. Tapping is just making a noise. I know we're repeating ourselves here, but we're doing this on purpose because a lot of players, we've heard from people in response to posts that we've had, that Mahjong is a looking and listening game and that their house rule encourages players to tap the tile so everyone knows they're closing the window. That's a house rule, and it's a great habit to avoid or break because if you go to a tournament or you play elsewhere, only tapping does nothing and the prior discard is still alive. Speaking of house rules, do you have any house rules for hands? There's a hand that's popular known as the atomic hand, and you could see our atomic indicator that's available on our website, Modern Mahjong. If you play by this house rule, it's not recognized by the league. Typically, a player needs to form 7 pairs of tiles, which would include any tiles other than jokers or flowers. Other groups can play that instead of 7 pairs, it could be any kind of groupings of 3 or 4 of a kind. The player needs to clearly announce that to all players before the Charleston that they're, quote, going atomic. This way, the other players won't pass them a flower. They already won't pass them a joker since that's against the rules. There's several differences, and just like we say with all house rules, these are important to discuss before you play. If you decide not to go atomic, does your group allow you to change your mind? If you pick a flower or a joker, can you just discard it? Or once you pick it, are you, quote, off atomic and need to find a backup hand? The group also needs to decide what's the payout if they play for money. It usually varies, and sometimes it's 50 cents. It could be anywhere up to $1. It's not doubled if it's jokerless, because by definition, it must be jokerless. Some groups play that a pung or con can be used, and others require 7 unique pairs. So we hope that is helpful for learning house rules. Our future daily talk of the tiles, we're going to continue discussing them. We have 2 Zooms coming up. You can see information about both of them on modernmahjong.com/collections/our events. Our PDF is available on modernmahjong.com, and it's 95 pages of important, helpful information to learn the card and backup hands. If you play Canasta, up your game, there's a 3-part intermediate series being taught by myself and Donna Miller Small. You could register on My Jewish Learning. It's a long link there. If you don't see the link, you can send us an email at modernamericancanasta@gmail.com and we'll send you the information. And if you're interested in our convention, it's October 11th and 12th in New York City. And speaking of New York, we are heading to New York City in June. Details coming soon. We hope you enjoy these daily talks. If you have any ideas for future posts, let us know. Thanks for everybody in our Mahjong community sending us messages and emails about what they'd like discussed. If you aren't following us yet, we don't gatekeep this information. We want to share and help players improve their game. And we hope that you like, comment, save, and share. If you go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel, you'll be notified when the new videos are posted. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day and a great game.